The next tenet of the CorgiSpace philosophy is to try to separate our ideas from our formulas. What does that mean, though? Well, the English language is going to fail us here for a bit, but we will do our best. An idea is the kind of hot, glowing heart or motivation or reason you started making the game in the first place. And a formula is maybe it's a prototype or an implementation or a design doc that you are hoping somehow captures or says something essential about your idea. Now, in general, ideas, if you actually start working on them, are almost always good, but our formulas are almost always bad. It's more complicated than that, though. So let's look at one of the games I made this year to get a better idea of how thinking about your work this way can be helpful. Last summer, I was vacuuming up the house when I noticed something interesting. It's sort of fun when the vacuum cleaner gets stuck under a table. The vacuum can only enter the space under the table from certain sides. The vacuum is a weird shape, so it has restricted movement, and the task is kind of non-linear. As long as you suck up all the corgi hair, you win. So I started thinking, maybe this could be kind of a cute Sokoban variant. Maybe you play as a bunny, and everywhere you move, you clean up the dust. I'll call it Dust Bunny, of course. Then in each level, there could be bunny-colored blocks, and if you bump into them, they get stuck to you, making you into weird shapes that make it harder to navigate the level. And as long as you sweep up all the dust, you win the level. I could even score the player based on how fast they went or how few moves they took, and have high scores for each level or something. And I would keep it simple. No block separator tiles or scraping mechanics or anything like that. This felt really promising. I knew this would be easy to start making in my favorite game tool, and the emphasis would be on level design over programming, which is easy for my brain. And I didn't have any specific level design in mind yet. I wasn't really sure how anything would pan out. I just felt like this vacuum stuck under the table thing was interesting, and I was curious about it. Since this game goes with the grain of the tools I use, I was able to get all the important bits working in under an hour. Stroke of luck, all my first level ideas were fun and pretty much the way I hoped. Even better, I noticed from the grain of the game that some levels looked easy but were hard, and vice versa. That's always fun, so I started to lean into that and make more levels that kind of played on that. But scoring the player was really obnoxious. I had to delete that right away. That means no high score or replay feature now. And the mechanics are actually so simple that I'm running out of level ideas really fast. How short can the legs on a game really be? Because these are pretty short. Adding more complex mechanics just so I can add more levels is a non-starter, since that would be the hard and obvious thing to do. So now what? Chuck it out and start over? Like every project, Dust Bunny started out with an idea and a formula all jumbled up together. The idea is in there for sure, but it's all mixed up with parts of my first formula. This is fine. This is really the only way it works. How else could I have made a prototype? Now, if I was excited enough about this silly game to sit down and start programming it, that means something about it is special. The idea, which at this point I think is basically vacuum stuck under tables, is probably great. Don't change that. Probably all we have to do to keep moving forward is change the formula. The question is how. After setting the game down for a couple days, I finally recognized the easy and not obvious opportunity. It was right there in the prototype the whole time. By waiting for the grain of the game to become more apparent and not jumping to something hard and obvious, there was still room to do something easy and not obvious. What the Dust Bunny formula really needed, it turns out, was simple. More dust and more bunnies. I added a few lines of code to add support for pink blocks, spotted blocks, and the pink bunny, and then checked to see what this gave me. And sure enough, not only could I design loads more levels, but a funny narrative about the main character started to emerge too. So by not giving up on the idea and being open to changing the formula, And listening to the game, I was able to find a really fun way to finish the design.